Top 7 Apple vs. Microsoft Most Popular Disputes That You Should Know About. Apple vs. Microsoft. In the arena of fighting to secure dominant positions, place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. In this historic fight to secure their dominant positions, these giants of industry have already given each other several punches that we examine in this video. In a highly competitive battlefield of technology, both have created amazing hardware, software, and services which have impacted our lives with a huge footprint of influence. Windows operating system, Surface, OS X, Macs, iPods, iPhones, and iPads. Who is winning this battle? As we jump into Time Machine, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to be notified on our latest videos. Let's check out our battle rounds of these two pugilists of technology. Round 7. Apple punches Microsoft and Hewlett-Packard for copyright infringement. As the bell rings and the contenders enter the ranks, Apple is pissed at Microsoft and HP for stealing their novel idea of graphical user interface, also known as GUI, and sues them for creating elements similar to those of Apple's Lisa and Macintosh operating systems. 4 years in this glorious fight, from the year the lawsuit was filed in 1988 to 1994, when the decision was affirmed, Apple claimed that the look and feel of the Macintosh operating system, taken as a whole, was protected by copyright. This was not wholly favored by the referee, and even after Apple listed 189 graphical user interface elements, the court decided that 179 of these elements had been licensed to Microsoft in the Windows 1.0 agreement, and most of the remaining 10 elements were not copyrightable. Halfway through the fight, enters another pugilist giant. Xerox throws a punch at Apple with a lawsuit against claiming Apple had infringed the copyrights Xerox held on its own graphical user interface. What a defensive move from Xerox! Talking about raising your fists, this lateral move appears to have been intended to ensure that if Apple versus Microsoft established that the look and feel were indeed copyrightable, then Xerox would be the primary beneficiary instead of Apple. But the referee would not have it, and the Xerox case was dismissed for a variety of legal reasons, and this round extended to be one of the many fist-throwing punches between Apple and Microsoft battles both inside and outside the court. The fight extended to the ads that both of them produced and affected the final outcome, which we were about to see in this historic epic. Ready for the next round? Round 6. Apple jabs Microsoft, Intel, and San Francisco Canyon Company. The bell rings, and Apple is locked and loaded to fire punches again. This time on February 4, 1995. Apple extended its lawsuit against developer San Francisco Canyon Company to also include Microsoft and Intel. But why? Video technology. Apple takes strong foot position and says that their code was stolen and used to bring a stark improvement on Microsoft's video for Windows technology. Something stinks? Should we say piracy smell? Bring in the heavyweights, and the lawsuit extends the threat of a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against Microsoft, while Microsoft threatened to cancel its Office applications for the Mac. What was the sand in the arena that triggers this round? In 1992, Apple contracted software developer San Francisco Canyon Company to port its QuickTime technology to Windows. The PC QuickTime was released in November 1992. The following July, Intel also hired San Francisco Canyon Company to improve Microsoft's video for Windows 10. The whole fiasco started when Apple claimed that the resulting software including several thousand lines of code written while the San Francisco Canyon was under contract to Apple. Apple then filed a lawsuit against the developer, and on February 14, Happy Valentine's Microsoft and Intel extended its lawsuit to include the two companies. As the round-ending bell rings, In August 1997, Microsoft and Apple came into terms, and Apple dropped all legal lawsuits against Microsoft. Whoa! But the foul taste did not end, and we are at the beginning of yet another round. Round 5. Steve Jobs punches Microsoft during an interview. Microsoft is tasteless and without creativity, said Steve Jobs in 1995 during an interview with Bob Crinchley. This interview, recovered in 2020, took place a decade after Steve Jobs stepped down as Apple CEO and, in his brutal image, minces no words to describe Microsoft. Along with some sharply honest comments, Steve acknowledges Microsoft's dominance in the market, while emphasizing Microsoft's lack of original ideas, creativity, culture, and soulless products. Apple's big punch comes in the form of soulful products with original ideas and nifty form factors. Did Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer saw this interview? That would be a fun scene to watch. Let's see now what Steve Ballmer did next. Round 4. Steve Ballmer takes in the belly. As Apple gained traction with a nifty new product, the iPhone, Steve Ballmer lowered his defenses and underestimated the potential of this new device. In a now infamous interview with Bloomberg News, he was asked about his thoughts on the then newly released iPhone, and his initial response was to laugh at it, further lambasting its high price and indicating that it would not appeal to the business consumers because of the lack of a physical keyboard. The narrow views reflected Microsoft culture at the time, with arrogant responses and plain wrong predictions. Less than a year after that interview, the iPhone blazed through the market and changed everything forever. Like the meteorite that wiped out the dinosaurs, every single Jurassic phone with plastic keyboards that Steve Ballmer cherished so much became obsolete overnight. Round 3. Apple knocks out Vista. Left and right punches came out swinging during Apple's 2006 Worldwide Developers Conference, as they devoted a special time to tackle one of the most interesting and maybe entertaining topics of the conference: the photocopying habit of their declared nemesis, Microsoft on the Vista operating system. Not wanting to fight alone, Steve Jobs leaned heavily on his sidekick, Bertrand Surlett, the senior vice president of software engineering at the time, to pinpoint in full detail the elements that Microsoft copied from their Mac OS X into Vista. Surlett had a fun time comparing the eerie similarities of Windows Vista to Mac OS X. To add flavor to the conference, Surlett shared that in a prior conference, he had hung a big banner saying, "Redmond, start your photocopiers." Obviously referring to the city of Redmond, where Microsoft headquarters is located, and intended as a sarcastic remark to Microsoft's habit of copying various elements of Apple products and infusing them on Microsoft products, especially on Windows. While Surlett said that it was meant as a joke, he added that he didn't expect Microsoft would take it seriously, and the audience bursted into a great laughter. To throw more hurtful punches, Surlett compared screenshots from Mac OS X Tiger and Windows Vista beta features such as Spotlight and Instant Search, Safari RSS, and IE RSS, Mail and Windows Mail, and lastly, iCall and Windows Calendar, and every time each products were compared side by side, the audience noticed the similarities. This was Apple's way of showing that Microsoft had no creativity of its own. Steve Jobs ended the photocopying presentation by saying that when it comes to innovation, money isn't everything. Let's see now what Microsoft did in response. Round 2. Microsoft throws a Zune. In fit of fury, like in the movie The Empire Strikes Back, Microsoft created an iPod challenger, the Zune. This music player called Zune 30, released in 2006, it had the 30 gig capacity, as well as FM radio and a 3-inch screen. But this bunch fell short, and while the Zune has solid features, Microsoft has joined the music player party a bit late, very late in fact, as by the time the Zune was released, the iPad had already dominated the market with 5 years of experience and created a following of loyal customers who are eagerly waiting for each new iPod model. Even with its lukewarm start, Microsoft attempted to gain market and released multiple Zune models: the Zune 80, the Zune 4, Zune 8, and Zune HD, all aimed at various iPod models. While each Zune model had quite a few competitive features, Apple had already created a music player market impossible to beat, even for a tech giant like Microsoft. Zune ended up being considered one of the biggest flops in Microsoft's history. As the battle heats up, let's see, we are there now. Round 1. The Ads Wars, a new beginning. The court battles between Apple and Microsoft are long over, and the Jobsgates rivalry is already a thing of the past. Today, the two giants have found a new battleground to continue their classic rivalry: advertising. But this time, it's not as intense as their past court battles, or even as stinging as Steve Jobs' sharp words. Interestingly, it morphed into a sarcasm packaged in hilarious and funny commercials that take potshots at each other's products. Not even Siri was prepared, and Steve Jobs would have a good laugh with some of the commercials. Surface mocks iPad. No stand, no USB port, no snap-on keyboard, and expensive. What kind of device are you? The ad highlighted iPad's lack of stand, USB port, snap-on keyboard, and of course, iPad's expensive price. And while these limitations are being shown, we can hear Siri's insecure comments on the background, which makes the ad even more fun to watch. Cortana versus Siri. Microsoft took a shot at Apple by comparing its then new Cortana to Siri, by portraying Siri as an insecure fellow again, that much better looking Cortana encased in a new HTC phone model. I'm a Mac and I'm a PC. The Mac guy in the commercial is portrayed as a hip and young guy, while PC is portrayed as a usual business-looking guy. In its series of commercial, Apple hilariously points out Mac's great advantages and funny short skits that everyone can relate to, simply because it's real, very real. It appears that the two giants' next battleground would be anywhere near a courtroom, but rather in creative ads that enjoy taking potshots at each other's products. What is next for these two? Is the referee going to declare one of them the champion as we move to the Cloud Wars? Let us know which was your favorite round in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when we add a new video. Stay in our channel as the next video loads. Morrongo TV. Motivation, inspiration, fun.